Oh, hey, everybody. Kind of packing me a bowl of some Pakistani Kush right quick. Oh, I love this green. I actually found a cool article, kind of reading through a whole bunch of different things going on in the nation. Not a whole lot to actually really talk about that would be much interesting, but I did find an article talking about traveling with marijuana. Now, in our time where we're at right now, some of the states are legal to actually possess marijuana, but it's still considered a federal crime to travel between two states with marijuana. Yeah. There was a cop recently on one of the stories that I read today was a cop that was out in Pennsylvania had over $2 million worth of marijuana products that he was taking to basically a dispensary, but he ended up not making it to his final destination. A police officer. Well, if we ever become federally legal to where we don't have to worry about all this stuff, then hey, it'll be great. But first, you got to know your rights in each state. It's very important as you are traveling between states to state that you know your individual rights as you travel from states. Like, did you know even though Oregon is legal in some places in Oregon, did you know that certain counties in Oregon it's still illegal? So you can still get busted and prosecuted in certain counties of Oregon. So as you're traveling across Oregon, some counties will be like, "Oh, you're okay," and other counties will be like, "You're going to Oregon jail." So let's kind of explore. I'm going to go through every state that has all types of legalities for marijuana. And when I say usable marijuana in each state, that means all forms of it: edibles, smoking, vaping, whatever. Even though nobody's probably going to go there or travel there right now, who knows? In Alaska, you are allowed up to 1 ounce of usable marijuana, 6 plants, which is 3 mature plants and 3 immature plants. In Arizona, you're allowed up to 2.5 ounces of flower only, with 12 plants. And if it's not medically licensed, so if you don't have your medical rec to smoke and have these plants, it is still considered a felony with a $150,000 fine and anywhere between 2 to 12 years in prison. So if you're thinking I can just recreationally have marijuana, you need a medical license for marijuana still in Arizona to have it there. California, California is allowed up to 8 ounces of usable material. So right now you're looking with these 4 jars in front of you, probably about 4 ounces to 5 ounces. That's it. So you're allowed up to 8 ounces of usable material, 6 mature plants, or 12 immature plants. So when your immature plants become mature, there better be only 6. Colorado is allowed up to 2 ounces of usable material and 6 plants, which is a 3 by 3 ratio, 3 mature, 3 immature ratio. Connecticut is allowed a 1 month supply to be determined. Basically saying if they determine that what this is a 1 month supply, then I'm okay. But if they determine that only this jar here is a 1 month supply, I would be considered a felon because the rest of this is not. That's attempt to sell in Connecticut. If they to say this is worth 1 month and the rest of this is attempt to sell. Delaware. Delaware period just allows up to 6 ounces of usable material. Period. Washington D.C. allows up to 2 ounces of dried flower only. So no vape, no concentrate, no edibles, just dried smokable flower. Take a quick hit of this dry smokable flower. In Hawaii, Hawaii is allowed up to 4 ounces of usable material and it's up to 7 plants. Illinois is allowed 2.5 ounces of usable material and 6 plants. Maryland is allowed a 30-day supply to be determined. Once again, a 1 month, 30-day supply, that 1 jar. The rest of it, that's to be all determined. So if I can tell them that I can smoke all this within 1 month, okay, then they will go ahead and let me keep it. If I gotta prove to them that's how much I smoke. Massachusetts has a 60-day medical only supply. So they allow 2 months of supply, so 2 jars, and they have to, and it's determined by the judge, of course, and it has to be medical only. So you have to have a medical license to smoke it. Michigan allows 2.5 ounces of usable material and about 12 plants to grow. 2 ounces is basically about 2.5 ounces, about 2 jars here. And about 2.5 ounces. Minnesota allows a 30-day non-smokable supply. So edibles, vapes, oils, tinctures, those type of things you're allowed to use, and it has to be a 30-day supply of those things. So probably like 30 of them each. That's it. Now keep in mind, as I'm going over all these limits, if you're caught outside of these limits, they still consider it a felony. You can still serve time in prison going over these limits because it's attempt to sell and you are feeding the drug cartel. That's just how they look at it. Minnesota, I already told you. Montana has a 1 ounce usable supply and 4 mature plants with 12 seedlings. So you're allowed 12 little tiny babies, but only 4 mature plants. Okay. Nevada allows 1 ounce of usable material with 7 plants total, equaling 3 mature plants and 4 immature plants. So you're allowed 4 small plants and 3 flowering plants. So out of the 7 plants, 3 of them have to be flowering, 4 of them new so that 3 of those 4 can replace the 3 that you harvest. To continue here, New Hampshire, 2 ounces of usable 10-day period supply. So you have to prove that you can use a little bit less than 2 jars here in 10 days or less. I can do it. Challenge accepted. Well, that's a dusty bowl. New Mexico, actually no, New Jersey is a 2-ounce usable limit. Period. They don't have any other restrictions. New Mexico is a 6-ounce usable period with 4 mature plants and 12 immature plants, which is strange that they actually do allow you to have it and use it there, seeing how they do not allow the use of recreational whatsoever, and they've been shutting down recreational use. So I guess it is usable for medical. Now all of these stats are by medical standards only. You have to prove a state proven medical license to smoke marijuana for these to apply to you. New York has a 30-day supply non-smokable. So once again, we're back to the oils and the tinctures and edibles. Oregon has a 24-ounce usable with 24 plant ratio. They allow for 6 mature plants and 18 immature plants. So that way, out of those 18 plants, you might get some males. So you're allowed to have up to 18 plants, but you're only allowed 6 female plants to continue maturing and growing later on. But they allow up to 24 ounces of usable material, which is actually quite a bit for a lot of people. 16 ounces is 1 pound. So, Rhode Island, 2.5 ounces of usable with a 12 plant maximum. There's no limitation. It's just 12 plants. And in Washington, Vermont has a 2-ounce usable with 9 plants, and they have a 2 mature, 7 immature ratio. Washington has a 24-ounce usable with 15 plants allowed to grow. So with those states, if you didn't hear your state on there, you're either CBD only or still do not allow for anything period in your state. Those are the only states that are allowing marijuana whatsoever. But like I said, if you're caught crossing state lines with marijuana, it is still a felony. So don't think, oh, I got caught here. You have to prove to them you bought that weed in that state. If they find out that you're from California and you're in Arizona and you have weed, they're going to try everything to prove that that weed came from California so they can get that felony on you. It pays their paycheck a lot more to drop a felony. Now, there are states that are semi-legal. They allow only the CBD oil form only. So anything that has any form of THC is still considered illegal in these states. The list of states that allow CBD only are Alabama, Delaware, Georgia, Florida, Iowa, Kentucky, Mississippi, Missouri, North Carolina, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia, and Wisconsin. Now, with all of these places that allow CBD only, if you are actually caught in these places with a smokable form with THC or whatever, they can still get you as a felon. Federal law, they will apply to you for any amount of weed. There's a post on Facebook that I've been seeing. A guy goes like this, and he goes, "You really want to know what an ounce of weed looks like? And that's about an ounce of weed." If you actually believe that, don't. He's holding probably 1.5 grams, maybe 2 grams if he's lucky. Basically, somebody went and told him that's what an ounce of weed looks like, so that's what he went to go report to everybody. This right here, weighed out, is about an ounce and a quarter, an ounce and a half. 1 jar. So if you take an ounce and a quarter out of one jar, and it's an ounce and a quarter for 4 jars, I have 5 ounces. I'm still under my 8-ounce limit for California, so I'm cool. But remember, there are still a lot of stories of cops doing some brutal things to smokers out there. So as you're traveling, if you decide to travel with your weed or however you decide to do it, remember to abide by the laws and just stay safe. Don't be stupid. Don't think, oh, I'm a pot smoker, I'm above it. You're going to get in trouble. Trust me, there's cops out there that just want to get you in trouble. They want that ticket on you. They want to pull you over and strip search you on the side of a Texaco station. Poor lady in Texas. So anyways, like I tell you guys all the time, remember to educate before you medicate. I'm going to get out of here. Oh yeah. Y'all have a peaceful, positive, and productive day. Coming at you.